I'm curious, if you have a set of instructions for future inventors to execute projects that you would project would only be possible, say, in 100 years, how would you go about instructing them to think about and to go about developing those types of ideas and projects? I mean, one of the things you said in the last answer was involving the users in the experience so that they'll notice the nuances and have the passion and motivation to keep the project moving forward. Are there any other those kind of tips or ideas that would help people along in their own innovations going forward?
A very important lesson is, in fact, to study the law of accelerating returns, and you can actually plot out very precisely what the price, performance, and capacity of different information technologies will be. We can, for example, three-dimensional printing, we can see that the spatial resolution is improving at a certain pace. It's about 100 in 3D volume per decade. And we can see, for example, that by 2020 it'll be submicron. And that would allow you, for example, to print out clothing, which we can't do today with 3D printers. And so you can see what's feasible in the future. And as I say, I've been inventing with these future technologies, and I can't build them yet, but I can write about them. And that's really been the sort of fertile ground for my inventions, because when the time comes around, then I have a passion to actually make it a reality. So a lesson is to really study the parameters of your area of interest, or if you have a particular technology in mind, really see where those technologies will be at different points in time and make sure your technology and business plans are consistent with that. A whole other area is group process, because the era where some mad inventor would disappear into his or her basement and emerge years later with a breakthrough is no longer true. It's actually a group of crazy inventors who disappear into their basement and emerge with an invention. It's very much a collaborative process, and you need different disciplines. So, for example, in speech recognition, we created the first large For example, in speech recognition, we created the first commercially marketed large vocabulary speech recognition, and that was an interdisciplinary effort. It required psychoacousticians, linguists, speech scientists, pattern recognition experts, and other disciplines. And each of these disciplines speak a different technical terminology, and they can refer to the same thing with very different words, and it leads to a lot of misunderstanding. So one of the things I do is develop our own terminology where we all speak the same technical language, and we will teach each other all of those technical fields, so we all have a proficiency in all of those areas. And very often that actually leads to very creative thinking, because suddenly the linguists will come up with a new approach to signal processing because they don't know all the rules of what you're not supposed to do with signal processing, and so they go and apply their discipline of linguistics to this other area, and very often will come up with a very creative approach. So group dynamics is important. There's a lot of lessons there as to how to get a group to work well together. I've seen many companies fail. They have a great idea, they have all the expertise, they have the money and resources, but then there's some interpersonal problem, some schism in the group or problem personality, and the group never succeeds for that reason. One way to overcome that is to actually have a project that everybody has a passion for. So the reading machine for the blind, certainly the blind members of the group had a passion, but so did all of the engineers, because we saw it as something that would be worthwhile. Creating a new music technology, enabling new forms of music, was certainly a passion of the group we had, in that they were all musicians, and we're very excited about bringing that into reality. And that having that passion for the goal can overcome a lot of interpersonal issues.